So we're in a tough spot, no doubt about it. The sport's being done. We're just trying to keep our athletes motivated and engaged as best we can. So what can we do to provide that environment of motivation? And that's what we're going to uncover today. There's 3 key components that'll help keep your athletes focused on the little things and staying productive, and also increase their motivation. Those 3 components are mastery, control, and connection. And the reason those 3 things are so vital is that if I feel like I know what I'm doing, it feels good, and I'm going to want to participate again. If I feel like I have some control, I have a process, I have input, it feels really good, and I'm going to be more enthusiastic to participate. And if I feel like I have strong connections, relationships that have understanding and trust, I'm going to want to participate. And right now, during this time of uncertainty, there's not a lot of things we can anchor on. But these 3 factors are non-negotiable and a great way to take a step back and help you and your athletes get onto the same page to plant your feet and start moving forward regardless of what happens during COVID. So let's break those down.
So when we talk about our motivation, what really energizes us? And what we found is that there are 3 key components that do this for us. This idea of mastery and competence, control, and connection. And why do these things empower us? Well, it's inherently enjoyable to feel like I know what I'm doing. It's inherently enjoyable to feel like I have some control, some say, input in my situation. And of course, having connection with others. So let's look at each one of these components a little bit more closely. So starting with mastery and competence, we'll define that as to perform something at a high level. Things like our techniques or our strategies, or even managing our attention. When we do these things at a high level, it feels great. So we want to create entire goal plans or routines based on this idea of being competent and mastering your position. Which sets the tone for pillar number 2, this idea of control in our process. And we'll define that just as having a sense of input over your situation. And so here's 2 questions to really help drive this concept home. Do you feel like you have a process you can trust? And do you create joint goals? And the reason these 2 questions are important is because when we don't do them, that's when we can feel burnt out, disconnected, don't feel like we have that control or say. So we want to focus on process. Meet with your coach, develop joint goals, identify opportunities where you have input and control, which also helps us build connection, not just with our teammates, but also our coaches. Because by nature, we are social creatures. We are hardwired to operate in groups. And even today, with everything going on, with COVID, being disconnected, we want to stay glued in. We use technology. So what kind of relationships do we want to have? We want to have encouragement and understanding, assistance, because we need trust within our relationships. So as we recap these 3 areas, keep in mind that these really act as pillars, foundations for our motivation. This idea of mastery and competence. This idea of having control or a process, and having connection and strong relationships. And what we can do is build goals and strategies around these things to keep our motivation high.
So now that we've taken a closer look at these 3 areas, here's what we can do. Meet with your players. Start looking at these 3 areas and creating goals to help promote this idea of mastery and confidence, to promote stronger relationships and connection, and to promote a process they can trust. Start there. You don't have to have all the answers today, but it can help you start closing that gap on creating a supportive and motivational climate and environment for your team to still feel like they can start making progress regardless of all the moving parts around them right now. Thanks.